Hey, what's going on Facebook and YouTube? Let me send invites to the panelists. I'm running just a little bit late. Feel free to ask us questions as I get them in the room. SoFlo, what's going on? Matt, what's going on? Ready to review a couple amazing Spider-Man issues. There that goes. 10 people. What's going on, Bob? What's going on, Austin? Let's see. Who haven't I sent an invite to? JR. Haven't sent an invite to JR. Let me get JR. There's JR. Who else am I missing? And McNulty. I heard 2 beeps. Let me get to that window in just a second. See who is. There's Kelly.
Hey.
And there's. What's going on?
Hey.
Hey.
There's Dark Mark.
Hey there.
What's going on, sir?
Not too much.
Look at you with your crawl space shirt on. Kelly, I got to get you a crawl space shirt.
I know. I'm still the odd man out.
I don't think I have my crawl space background up. Let's see here. There it goes. What's up with this layout? No, we don't want that. Don't want that.
Oh no.
Well, that's weird. Okay. Maybe when we get a couple more in here, it'll look differently. I can kind of see the background behind us.
Yeah.
JR, what's going on?
Not much. Spent most of the day getting supplies to send another kid off to school next month. So.
Spencer's going to college?
Yeah, he is.
Oh my gosh. Does he know what his major is yet?
Yeah, well, he thinks it's criminal justice, he says.
Just like his sister?
Just like his sister.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
You raised a couple Punishers.
Well, actually, my daughter is kind of, I don't know. She has a little bit too much compassion. You know, she's actually trying to help people. Although I get a few calls every once in a while about people who've absolutely driven her crazy.
Adam says his sister also wants to do criminal justice. So there you go, JR.
Yeah. Well, my daughter's a probation officer right now. So.
Oh, cool. JR, can you tilt your camera? You got a circle light reflection hitting on you.
I know it's.
Oh, there it goes. It's gone. There, that got it.
Okay, it's just the lighting in here is just awful.
Kelly, you got a different background. You're not on the couch.
No, I'm at my parents'.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So.
Got a Dr. Pepper and
coffee.
No, I'm talking behind you.
Oh yeah. I got my Dr. Pepper and there's some lipstick and this Goku. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Matt wants to know, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Is your local comic store open as March 24th, 2020? I asked because my local one opened last Saturday. George, what's up, sir?
Hey, George.
Hello,
yes,
everyone.
my local comic shop is open. So, because my local one opened, that was when I picked up Volume 5 of Spider-Man newspaper strips. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a great one. The volume right before the wedding appeared. So, JR directed by Michael Bay with your lens flare. That's J.J. Abrams with
that's,
lens flare.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep. We got everybody? Is this the cast of this hour?
McNulty's going to be late, remember?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull up the 2 issues on Comixology. Amazing Spider-Man. What is it, 44? I think it is.
40.
Yep, there it is.
Yes, 44, yeah.
And what's the other one? It's Sins Past. Or Sins... Not
Prelude. Sins Rising Prelude.
Okay. What is Sins Past? Is that the Stacy?
Let's not go there.
That's the Goblin Splooge story.
God.
As George and I so vividly brought it to you in another installment of Spider History.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the
there it is.
installment of Spider History where George first libeled me. And
One of many.
And accused me of making things up. So,
It's not liable if it's true, sir.
That's funny. By the way, JR, you need to watch that Jenkins interview from last night. He goes into that Goblin story pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool. Really cool. He's such a nice guy.
He really is. I mean, like you meet a lot of like comics people.
Yeah.
You know, and you have varying, experiences with them. But Paul Jenkins was always one of the nicer guys.
Always a nice guy.
To meet and talk.
He hit his goal that we were gonna give away an autographed Spec 27 last night, but we didn't hit 600.
Oh.
But he hit it today, so he's like
good.
603 backers. So he's getting closer to his goal of printing that book. JR, your camera moved again. Move the little thing. Oh, is that Mike? Mike in the house. We got 6.
Hey, there we go.
Yep. You can't hear you, Mike, but you're here. You're.
That's the best he's ever sounded.
Oh,
Mark with the better Wi-Fi and the better.
I know,
insults.
right?
I love it.
I know, right? Like we can see him clearly, hear him clearly, and the results the same. It's still
Look how clear that picture is, Mark. My goodness.
Let's not jinx it, all right?
Oh, that's funny.
I am using a Chi-Town Ethernet cable, so who knows what kind of shoddy craftsmanship this is going to.
I like the look on McNulty's face right now, like he's trying to stop the war cord from breaching.
He's got some wrinkles up here, like he's focusing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, and by the way, I heard that, Mark. that my son.
Well, his audio's better. There you go.
Yeah.
JR, can you tilt down just a little bit? There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Nice. All right. We ready, everybody? Oh, and your son's
so.
Talking on you already, Grant. Oh, still my Ethernet cable this time. Oh, thank you, Adam. I'm glad you liked the Jenkins interview. Great. It went 2 hours, man. That thing flew.
Oh wow! Yeah, I still have yet to see it, and I apologize for not seeing it.
It's all good. It's
good.
I liked it better than the first one we did in the convention. So,
nice.
George, that story that we told of you rescuing him from the Playboy Playmate was hysterical. I've watched that part several times.
Well, you kind of misrepresented me on that story.
Well, you were rescuing him.
I didn't know I was rescuing him as the thing.
Oh, okay.
I just went up to him because he was like, yeah, I'll be at the Top Cow booth. This is back when people still used email. And and I said, I'm going to be at the con because I had stayed on the West Coast a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
JR remembers this period of time. This is back when I went to go visit Hero Realm Girl, JR. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay out here on the West Coast for a couple more weeks and I'll go to the convention. He goes like, yeah, drop by the Top Cow booth and we'll hang out or something. So I did. And then I got there. And then, the gal was hitting on Paul Jenkins and everything. And then Paul couldn't have gotten out of there faster. Right. And then the gal had a look on her face. It was like, you'd rather hang out with this dude than me. and I knew Paul was engaged and was getting married because he'd already mentioned it in public before, like a few times.
That's funny.
But I never once thought that like Paul was like going to like make a bad decision with the Playboy. I never thought that at all. I wasn't expecting him to go jump up and walk around the convention with me for an hour. Just so we wouldn't have to sit there and get hit on by this hot chick.
That's funny.
George Barrowman, professional cock blocker.
JR, PG-13. We're up to 30 people. Oh, we just lost 2 because of JR.
Oh, shoot.
All right, coming down in 3, 2. Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our review show. Let's introduce the panel. We got Kelly. What's going on, Kelly?
Hi, good. It's Saturday, and I'm at my parents'.
There you go. We've got JR. What's going on, JR?
Hi, I'm very happy to be here.
Yep, that's about best enthusiasm we've had in 10 years.
JR has like John McCain when he was a prisoner of war. They're like taking footage of him and he's like trying to blink his eyes, help send people.
The other voice you heard is George. What's going on, George?
Hi, it's Saturday and I'm not at my parents' house.
Did you trim the beard up? It looks nice.
A little bit, but I mean on the sides it's like all full now. This is mostly Corona face. I haven't had time to
Corona face.
Since I started working a new job now. I've been at the new job for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Because of the Rona, they've sent me like all this. I thought it was just they said, "Are you cool with working from home till like the end of the year?" And I was like, "Well, I guess if I have to, I guess if my commute's going to be 10 minutes to get to wherever I'm going
to your desk,
or 10 seconds, yeah." So I thought I was going to be using my home PC.
You're right.
No, they sent me like all kinds of like high end stuff. I mean, like there was like 8 boxes of stuff arrived. Nice. And I had to I had to clean off my dining room table that I wasn't using I was mainly using that for storage because I'm a single man and that's what you do. When you don't live with anyone.
That's where you put the mail and the wallet.
Use everything for storage, right? So I had to clean that off, get all of that set up. So now I work from home, like less than 10 feet from my refrigerator.
You know what? I work from home, George. You know what the school sent me?
Uh-oh.
What?
Nothing.
That other voice is Dark Mark. What's going on, Mark?
Not too much. It is burning hot up here in Hillsborough, North Carolina.
Oh, my. It's like 95 out here in Missouri.
It's been nice here in North Texas today.
It was like near 100 down here because my mom's just above Jacksonville, Florida. So,
By the way, Paul Jenkins is a neighbor, Kelly. He's in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah. So there you go. And the last voice you haven't heard yet is McNulty. Mike, what's going on, sir?
Well, right now I am also in my home office, and it's a pleasant 85 degrees where I am because, of course, Washington State, and we get, of course, crazy weather here.
I think your air conditioner's broke at 85 right there in your house.
Well, here's the thing. We have a thing called windows where we kind of open them up, and so we can don't need to have air conditioning. Like I know you poor Texans and people. Yeah, well, not for this California native because that's where I'm originally from. So but pleasure to be back on here. Oh, and also since there are one of our regulars isn't here, Ashley, we should probably also maybe wish her a happy birthday or belated.
Happy birthday, Ashley.
Happy birthday to her and the baby. Well, the baby's not having a birthday. The baby's still not
yet.
Well, not yet. Not for a couple of months.
But you can eat cake for 2. I've been doing that for years. So it's all. I
never thought the podcast was going to turn into a PSA for diabetes.
Thank you, Wilford Brimley. All right, we've got 2 issues we're going to review on this episode. The first one, ASM 845. Is that what the legacy number is?
845.
Yeah,
845.
845. Who's got this one?
I've got this one.
All right, take me through it, Mark.
All right, so we get started off here with Kindred narrating, and he's talking directly to Peter, and that's the important thing to remember. He is talking directly to Peter in his dream.
Oh, here comes the conspiracy theories. Is that actually Peter Parker in the panel?
That's the nitpick that really is bugging me with this issue.
Is that Peter Parker laying in bed because I can't tell from the art?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't tell from the art.
It's so weird. The art in this issue is a little weird.
It's a little cubism, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
What?
It's very artistic. It works for the dream situation.
It's better than Marcos Martin.
Fair. That is
it's better than Amazing Grace. But that's a low.
Oh gosh,
no doubt.
How sweet the sound is not.
All right, so Pete's trying to sleep. He's got a pizza box on the floor and note cards scattered everywhere, which is not the way to handle note cards, by the way. You want to keep them in nice little rubber band. You want to write in pen so the pencil doesn't smudge. You got to take care of these things.
In case you're wondering, Mark is a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his face is such that you can tell, and sweat's coming out. You can tell he's either having a nightmare or some severe gastrointestinal cramps.
I thought he'd gone to Chipotle.
Yes,
Well, clearly it was bad pizza.
Yeah, that's a bad pizza.
I've never gotten food poisoning from bad pizza. Well, watch, I'll get it next week.
I have. It's not fun.
Jeez.
Now, we immediately know something's off here in this Spencer written issue because we have a huge onomatopoeia, and Spencer hates onomatopoeia.
A what? What was
An
that?
onomatopoeia, sir.
Is that something like you have when you get like diarrhea or something?
That's exactly it.
That's what Peter had when he was laying in bed there. An onomatopoeia of room.
And we have Kindred saying, I want you to remember, Kindred says, I'll see you in your dreams. He was talking directly to Peter, and he says, I'll see you in your dreams. I'm sure this is just a little minor thing that won't come back later.
No.
All right, so what does Peter's dream look like? Well, it looks like Overdrive complaining about his tricked out car abilities, not being able to fix the radio. Overdrive tells the story of a job that went way wrong with some inner demons. They shot some police up. Overdrive, he doesn't go in for that stuff. He's feeling really awkward, but he also doesn't want to get killed by the inner demons, so he's still hanging out a little bit. And all of a sudden, the lights go out, and the inner demons start praying. They say, "Oh God, I hope it's not the Punisher." But Overdrive says they soon wish it was, because it is the Sin Eater. And he's standing there all menacingly with those eyes dotted out like Peter had when he realized that the burglar was the same guy he let go earlier. He's all dots there.
Get it, Mark, get it.
Instead of just shooting the inner demons, he makes their tongues turn into Eric Larson venom tongues, and then he turns them into incarnations of their very sins before they die from their own tongues.
Eric Larson just texted someone.
Overdrive is offered a chance to be cleansed. But instead of taking that, he tricks out a paper airplane made out of a $20 bill, which is so stupid, it's actually cool. I liked it. But
I don't understand how that works.
Well, he can trick out any
Magic.
ride, so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it had to be mechanically based. But paper air, whatever.
It's a dream,
I guess.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, but even so,
Life is but a dream.
But Sin Eater turns all Michael Myers on Overdrive, and no matter how fast he drives away, Sin Eater's just standing where he wants to go, all menacingly. So right before he crashes into Sin Eater, doing about as much damage as Batman did when he ran into Superman, he looks at Spider-Man and says, "But I'm not the one he's after, am I?" And at that, Peter wakes up, looks despairingly at this treatment of his note cards, and calls MJ. And says, "Hey, I saw on Twitter that your series is being canceled. Why don't you come back here and let me ask you to marry me like I should have done long ago instead of running around with my maybe sister?" But before he can get any answer,
Is Dark Mark doing this or JR?
I know, right?
I'm hearing the truth here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of paraphrasing a little bit.
I'm hearing the truth here.
Well, I've got to retire sometime, so somebody might as well take over for me.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, semi-credible Hulk.
And then we see that Peter's face earlier may have actually been from intestinal disorder, because he starts projectile vomiting centipedes before rats start bursting out of his chest, a la Alien.
That is some bad pizza.
That's some puke.
Yes.
Look, he's puking up rats, man. That's gross.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's really bad pizza.
Yep.
It was
Man,
really
I
bad.
thought pineapple was bad on pizza, not rats and centipedes.
Pineapple's amazing.
You guys remember that show Fear Factor?
Pineapple is good on pizza.
Pineapple's great on pizza.
Yeah.
Oh man, what is wrong with you two?
Jalapenos, pineapple, and bacon.
If you get like
pepperoni,
a pizza with like Canadian bacon and put ham on that, it's amazing. You will, yes.
I will give you that.
Agreed.
I will give you that.
Then Kindred reveals again.
Real quick, Mark. Hornacek says, as Dark Mark recaps, JR is like, good. Let the hate flow through you.
Well, JR is on here, so
that's not even the first time JR has seemed like Palpatine on the show.
Yeah, what was it? The Secret Wars #1 thing or whatever? Where
Yeah,
the first time you accused me of being a monster?
Adam says you look like a young JR, Mark.
Okay, you're insulting somebody, but I'm not sure who. The thing is, though, I don't know how old Dark Mark is, but my hair was still gray, no matter how old, even at that age. So.
I'm not too far away from you. I'm second oldest on this cast.
Yeah, I've been when my son was born. I took pictures into the Target to get him developed because back then you actually had film and whatever. And when I picked him up, the lady asked me if those were pictures of my grandson. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
The chat now has a debate about pizza. Oh man, go ahead, Mark, hit it.
All right. Then Kindred reveals again that he is dead, but he tells us a few things we haven't heard before: that he didn't feel cold when he died, and that his death was unique. And then he proceeds to drown Peter right into the floor. Now, I looked up what does drowning mean in the dream, and AuntieFlow.com says drowning.
Whoa.
What's the website address again?
AuntieFlow.com.
There are better dream interpreters online.
Antidream.com? Is this like cannabis.com we're going down?
I think so.
I want to do a lot of research on this.
Hold on.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
How do you spell it?
Antidream.
No.
The quasi-credible Hulk.
Yeah.
Keep going down.
She said,
"Oh, there it is."
What are we doing? Where are we going?
Go ahead, keep going. I'm trying to find.
She says that drowning in dreams represents the overwhelming emotional burdens one faces. And if someone survives the drowning, it means a rebirth of sorts.
Okay. Another
reboot? So, maybe another Amazing Spider-Man #1 in our future. Could be. Volume 6 coming up. And then Kindred then says, it is not who I am that should be bothering you, but rather what I want.
Okay.
And then despite this dream clearly being about Peter, and about Kindred says, haha, psych, this is even your dream. And then we see several spider types wake up shocked. And I'm just left, what the heck, Nick? Because
so in other words, we this turned into Inception with the whole shared dreaming and dream within a dream and all that other stuff.
2 and 2, like Chuck Woolery used to say.
I'm a little bit more partial to Edgar Allan Poe, Dream Within a Dream poem. I'm gonna give Nick the higher rate there on that one. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, what does that? Does that mean that Peter never actually dreamed this?
Yeah.
You know,
maybe he was fighting a different type of Sandman,
vomiting,
or rather, well, it could be. See, this issue is a little weird. Like, it could be that the first half of that dream within a dream was is Peter's dream, and the second one where Peter is dying is the dream the other spiders and MJ had. But my issue with it is why is Jessica involved at all?
And
like, why
they have to turn this into an event. They have to turn this into an event.
Yeah. The only villain I know that can affect your dreams, well, Freddy Krueger, because he has been published
Marvel
by Marvel.
debut. Yeah.
Or Nightmare. Those are the only ones that can affect your dreams.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
By the way, I found the source of credible Hulk or Mark's website. There you go. Doesn't this look like you're dreaming, this background? Oh, there's Peter's hand right there. Look right there.
Perfect.
There you go. Is this the site you were on, Mark?
There we go.
That's the site I was on.
Site you're on. Look at all that.
It's the first time I went on that site, and as far as I'm concerned, it will be the last time I went on that site.
Anybody need a face reading?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm up for a face reading.
Okay, hold on.
I'm good.
Oh my God. Which one am I?
This reminds me of that.
Why do they all look like the same?
I know, right?
This reminds me of that meme I saw with like 9 pictures of Danny Trejo making the same face, and it was like the different emotions of Danny Trejo, and it was like like each one literally the same face.
Fire
See, now
ears. I have fire
Machete.
ears. Oh my gosh. Okay, Mark. Thank you for that rabbit hole. Okay. You hit the end of it, didn't you? What was your grade?
My grade was a C.
C. Let's go around the horn. George.
I gave this one a B minus.
B minus. Mike.
C plus.
JR.
C minus.
Kelly.
B minus.
C out of me. Mark, let me hear your pros.
Well, anytime you have Kindred in there, it's always good for me. I like to look to see what he's revealed. And it made me go back when he said that about the death. It made me go back and look at Harry's death back in Spectacular Spider-Man 200 to see if there was a reason to say it was unique or not cold. I'm not quite sure that that kind of, those are actually clues there. But as far as the what is it that I want thing, I asked people on the front page what they thought, and Jack Brooks had a good idea. He said that he wants MJ, just like he always did. And if it is Harry and Harry's death issue, he is all about MJ and Gwen. He is going on and on and on about MJ and Gwen. So, and also in that death issue, he kept switching back and forth between crazed maniac and oh no, I want to be a good father and I want to be a good friend. So his final act of rescuing Peter, I don't think really is a full redemption, because if he just lived another 5 minutes, he probably would have been all back into throwing pumpkin bombs at people. So, so I like the fact that it made me go back and look at that stuff, and that's my pros. That in the stupid $20 bill that gets really huge and Overdrive flies away with.
Mike, I think I also had a problem with that. He can only affect mechanical things, not a dollar bill.
It's a dream, though.
Oh well,
but you see, there's the point is that it technically, even though it's kind of a dream within a dream, it's the implication is that this is actually supposed to be happening in the real world. So the idea of having, I guess it's supposed to try to say because of a paper airplane, it's a simple mechanism still.
Maybe.
Even so, I kind of thought it was supposed to be like
maybe it's all bets are off. All bets are off in a dream, though.
But despite that, I did like the fact that they kind of this slight reinterpretation of Sin Eater as they kind of turning him into sort of this Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees type, where he seems to be everywhere at once. Like no matter where Overdrive goes. I did so in terms of tone overall. I thought this story was very effective in terms of conveying that kind of that horror vibe tone. I do have issues with it being part of an Amazing Spider-Man story, which we'll get into later. But overall, I think in terms of the tone, setting the tone and basically setting the stage up for what's coming, I do think that Dick Spencer did a good job of saying like, setting that very kind of that ominous feeling about that there's something that kind of that unsettling aspect to it, and how it seemed like there's something not quite right, that kind of that sense of unease and dread about it. So
Matt in comment goes, is this the site where Dark Mark found his background for the dream part of the story, which reminds me a lot of the 2-decade use of meth? Dang, Matt.
Wow, Matt,
a little too much sharing there.
Well,
I was about to say, if you did 2 decades worth of meth, do you have any hair or teeth left?
No kidding, right?
JR, you got any pros out of the story? You went right down the middle, I think, with a C.
No, C minus. I'm trying to think if I did have any pros, and I can't think of one other than Kindred's back, so maybe the plot is progressing. But that's it.
Yeah, Kelly,
that's it.
Kelly, got any pros?
My pro is mostly this feels like we're starting to move forward, and I'm excited for it. But otherwise, it leaves a lot more it leaves you more questions than answers, and I'm just kind of like it feels almost like we're stalling for a little bit, like the gears are spinning, but we're not getting anywhere.
We're stalling by inviting all the other Spider people in to sell more $4 books. Is what it sounds
$5 books.
$5 books. Whatever.
$5 books. Yeah.
We've been stalling since the Central Park story.
Yeah, pretty much.
It does feel stretched.
Yeah.
It's like a Stretch Armstrong. George, pros out of you? Weren't you a B minus?
I was a B minus.
Yeah.
My biggest pro is, oh God, please don't be the Punisher. It's the Punisher.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'll give you that.
I love it whenever like I'm reading a comic and the Punisher shows up and all of the bad guys freak out because they dealt with this in Deadpool, I think, at one point, like about 10 or 15 years ago. But they all freak out because, like, if the Punisher shows up, you know that's not, you're not going to jail. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's not like Captain America or Spider-Man showing up. You're just going to the morgue.
I love that.
So I remember back in Deadpool, like it was around the time whenever I guess they introduced Bob, Agent of Hydra.
Right.
Like you had like the Hydra people internally talking about that stuff, and they're like, fine, Captain America, whatever. And then they start going off the list: Wolverine, Punisher, Elektra, Deadpool. They're like, these are the people that you don't want to show up. Everybody else fine.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, I mean that was the one thing I loved the most. I hope MJ gets back from vacation soon, so Spider-Man doesn't have to with losers like Overdrive in his dreams.
Yeah.
But
vacation is in Montana.
I don't know where she is right now. I thought
that's where she is. Montana.
She's in Amazing Mary Jane. She's in Montana doing a film or something.
I thought she was.
No,
I thought they were doing it in California. Never mind. All right.
No, it's witness protection in Montana was the second half of the story, but it's canceled. So yay!
Has it been confirmed it's canceled? I haven't seen that yet.
It was like today or yesterday. I think. They said
really?
It was canceled. Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
So, but my cons here, I'm going to echo Kelly. I mean, overall, I'm still enjoying the story. Overall, I'm still grateful, for example, that Nick Spencer is our writer.
Yeah.
But this is just treading ground right now.
Oh yeah, this is very much reminding me of the Hobgoblin original subplot.
No. The original Hobgoblin actually went places.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying in terms of like how it's stretched out. I mean, a little bit.
Well, the thing was that because we've talked about like how fans are like, oh my gosh, who is Kindred? Who is Kindred? And they're really actively vested in it in a way that they never were for a Dan Slott story.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't care about it too much.
And so I've been like, we've been noticing, we've had some discussions about it. I know we've had a lot of discussions about it on the Discord.
Yeah.
But and I've compared it in that sense to the original Hobgoblin story, which was another who is this person that fans were invested in. But in that one, you actually had many confrontations between the villain and the hero.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're missing.
I mean, you had so much action between the two, and you had all this animosity building up the whole time. All of this stuff is just, it's like a villain monologuing to himself for, what has it been, 30 issues?
Yeah. It's been almost 2 years, pretty much. Yeah. They still have not technically met.
The best thing that could happen for this story is for it to end.
Or reveal his identity and make him a Spencer original creation villain to keep coming back to haunt.
And I don't say that as in the story is bad kind of way. I'm saying that the story needs to go ahead and conclude, and all the stretching out to pad trades and events that they're trying to do is hurting the story badly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't put that on Spencer.
No, that's a Marvel editorial mandate.
That's editorial.
Just
I don't
sell
put
more
that on
books.
Spencer. Yep.
Yeah.
Sell more books. Yeah.
So editorial is starting to hurt this book now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. Editorial's been hurting this book for
probably hurting a lot of comics, actually.
In fairness, editorial's been hurting Marvel Comics for the last few years.
And I'm not going to be too bad on them because you have Nick Lowe, and Nick Lowe did bring Spencer, in after Nick Lowe seemed to have a sense of what Spider-Man desperately needed after 10 years of having Slott forced down our throats.
Yeah.
And I give him credit for that, but right now we need to end this story. Stop the damn tie-in, stop the damn events. Don't care. I'm interested in Kindred but every time you throw out an issue like this, I get a little less interested.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not on Spencer. That's on Marvel.
Mark, what's some of your cons?
Well, the art.
Yes.
The art just took me completely out of this book. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I need to be able to see Peter and recognize him without having it being told that it's Peter, the main character of the book.
I mean, we could have that guy come from the Daily Bugle 1 where he drew Peter as himself.
Yeah. Well, and Kindred looks different every panel, and I guess we could say it's a dream, but they weren't drawing it that way because it's a dream. It was drawn that way because the art was just very, very inconsistent. So I knew as soon as I saw the way Kindred was drawn that we weren't going to get any real revelation in this because this is just a filler book. And I was kind of expecting this book to be more, and it's not fair for me to grade the book on my expectations, but they were throwing this cover out for a long time, and I guess even longer because of COVID. But I was really expecting this is going to be some good stuff. We're going to find out some key stuff that's going to really throw all of my predictions haywire. But we didn't really find anything. Much.
Hey, real quick, I set a certain setting on YouTube and Facebook. Well, I think it's for YouTube only. It's called Super Chat, and if anybody wants to do a donation, they can. And Vinkman just did $10.
I saw.
Oh, Vinkman! Yay. Here, I'm going to put Vinkman up there. You get a special little yellow outline, and you get pinned to the top. I've never done this before, but that's awesome.
I think he probably did $10 because he was so impressed with the recap that I did. I mean,
exactly.
Well, we get Mark on. We get a $10 donation to the site. I think that's very cool. Mark,
there's a correlation.
It's like we're a butcher shop. To put the best cuts forward in the window, right?
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
If Mark was a piece of meat, George, what piece of the cow would he be?
Oh God.
He would be prime rib.
No. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, he'd be
Nice.
prime rib.
What would JR be?
Probably ground chuck.
That with an expiration date long past.
Maybe a ham hock or something.
Don't worry, panelists. I'm not going to go around the horn. I'm going to have JR do all of us.
You don't even want to know what kind of part of the meat.
We're not pieces of meat.
Let's not go there. Yeah, no.
No.
Not.
Okay, open it up to the rest of the panel. Who would like to go on more cons with the exception of art? We already hit that. Go ahead, Mike.
I will. So when I said I think Spencer did well capturing the sort of the horror vibe and the dread thing, my problem is that even though I am a fan of horror and supernatural fiction stuff, I'm not too much of a fan of it in an Amazing Spider-Man. And I think, because here's the thing: we all remember. Some of us remember the J. Michael Straczynski run, where he kind of dwelled too much into the sort of the supernatural, totem-esque kind of stuff and everything. But at least there, it kind of felt like it kind of tied into larger themes like science and faith and reason and superstition, all that kind of stuff that J. Michael Straczynski was building on. Here, Spencer is kind of doing a little bit of similar things. And you can kind of tell this is a little bit of an homage to Straczynski, especially that phone call or voicemail that Peter left to Mary Jane, and it felt like it was right out of issue 50 and stuff. Mm-hmm. The problem is, it just felt like it almost seems here. It's more like the kind of the low grade kind of shock horror thing of this stuff, and also, and this is something I'll get into when we cover the next issue. Not really too much of a fan of having Spider-Man going up against supernatural enemies. And I think now that Kindred, one thing we do know about Kindred is this is definitely crossed into the realm of the supernatural.
Yeah.
Because no matter who he is or what, or who or he or she is, or what he really is, because I know there's some theories about what he might be, this has gone way into that other's territory. So I don't think no matter who the reveal is, it's going to be like, I don't know. It's not. I kind of almost feel like I hope it's not a cheat. It's not Fincher's not pulling some kind of a cheat. It's like, aha! It turns out to be some, weird thing or something
Mike
like this.
And Mark, do you think whoever it is, it's going to be disappointing? Do you think we've already guessed who it is at this point?
I don't know. I don't. It could be anybody, and it would be exciting or disappointing depending upon the execution of it. I mean, it could take. Go ahead.
Yeah, though I'm just saying the weird thing right now is they really do want you to think this is some kind of that not only is he from that Kindred is some kind of demonic thing from hell, but that he is somehow that this is somehow connected to Peter. I mean, I know we've had this theory about the theories going around about, this is part of Peter's soul that he made with Mephisto and that this is connected to One More Day somehow and everything. I'm like, I don't know if I really want it to go that far with this. I mean, it's plausible at this point, but I'm kind of thinking, that just gets too meta, and that just gets too weird. That just gets too out there for something like for Spider-Man and everything.
Well,
I mean, it's better.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that the thing that they've been driving home has been, it's less about who Kindred is and why
he's doing this.
He's doing it. So I think that's the key here. Like, and that's something I've been saying. We've speculated about who Kindred is for so long.
Right.
It's going to be disappointing for most people
because it's stretched out.
Well, I think the enjoyment or disenjoyment or not disenjoyment, the enjoyment or disappointment is going to hinge on not who it is, but what's done with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I wanted to be fair to the clues. I don't mind there being some red herrings that made me misinterpret, but they got to be legitimate. I don't,
Yeah.
As we'll see in the next issue, there's something that got thrown out there that should not have been there in the recap page. But
yeah.
I'm gonna give a counterpoint on McNulty's thing.
Okay.
I didn't mind it so much with the. In fact, I kind of enjoyed the every time no matter where I was, he was there. Like he couldn't.
I did too. I'm not saying. I thought Spencer did that effectively.
It reminded me a lot of not horror movies, although that is an element in horror movies. Like Jason Voorhees and all that crap. No matter how far you run, they're always there, right behind you.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of like old radio shows, like Suspense, and that would happen back then in those
The Hitchhiker,
and things like that.
On the Twilight Zone too.
That I enjoyed. Yeah. I enjoyed that aspect of it. As far as like the tongues go and all that crap. I mean, Venom or probably Venom does at some point too. But I mean, Carnage is done. I mean, like that's been done before. That's not.
Yeah.
I didn't take that as a horror element so much. I didn't take this as horror so much as just building suspense.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to get to that next issue so we can hit the 8 o'clock deadline for the news. So, Mike, you've got the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. All right. Take me through this tie-in. Usually we'd save this for satellites, but Nick Spencer wrote it, so I decided to put it in. Plus, it's kind of a lighter month.
Yeah, and we also got Guillermo Sanna and Jordi Belair on the art. And of course, the debate is, which one was the worst artist this month? So good.
This one's slightly better.
I'm with Kelly on that. It is slightly better.
This one's tons better than that.
I like that better. I mean, I didn't read this issue, but I like this better than Cam and Coley.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, what this issue is, we get a flight. Yeah, I'm sure you know
pregnant people.
Yeah, because the thing is, goes back to Stanley Carter's origin story, which we recap again. He basically talks about how his parents were basically drugged out hippies, and his dad had an overdose, and then his mom was pregnant with him, and as soon as he was born, his grandparents decided to raise him, which turns out to have been a semi-bad idea.
Missouri and the Ozarks. What the?
Yep, it was. Yeah, because his granddad is a fire and brimstone preacher from the Ozarks, one of those really kind of out there Christian sects, who the guys who handle the snakes,
dances
and all that great
snakes.
stuff. Yeah, the snake charmer and everything like this, all that stuff. In fact, that's how his grandfather dies, is because he gets bitten by a rattlesnake in church, and I should also clarify before this, we also learned that his grandfather also taught Stanley how to hunt, and basically called him I won't say what he called him in this issue, which I think she can even see in the word balloons there, but he's just thinking, your dad was a, what, and so you got to, and so Stanley even is saying in his narration says, I really didn't care, it didn't really bother me that I took the life of a deer or anything like this. So you're already getting hints that this guy is a little bit on the sociopathic side.
Yeah.
But anyway, when his grandfather dies after handling the snake, the congregation is like, well, how could this be? Because this preacher was, he was a godly man. He didn't have any sin in his heart. So what they decided to do was they decided to go the very unconventional route, and they got in the local sin eater.
Yeah.
And of course, for those of you who don't know what a sin eater is, I mean, there are guys that they basically, when you lay out a the body
is this
of
a
someone.
thing? I didn't know this was a thing.
Oh yes, this is a thing. This is something.
So they're called sin eaters.
Yeah, this is not. This is not actually. This is in some Christian sects. It's not like in other. It's not. It's very kind of like it goes back to the old. Yeah, it goes back to the medieval times, in which basically what you do is what they used to do is when someone died and they couldn't get access to like a priest or minister to kind of cleanse them of their sins, they used to get what they call sin eaters. So they basically laid the body out and put like various fruits and somewhat to represent their sins, and so the local sin eater would come there and consume the fruit, thereby consuming their sin, and therefore that would allow them to pass onward to heaven and not reign in hell in eternal torment.
This is the same reason I eat Twinkies.
Yeah, there you go. So John Stanley, he sees this sin eater who's looks like something out of the Grim Reaper thing. I mean, he looks like the Crypt Creeper or like one of those Crypt Creeper things. I mean, it's like, and so sees him like crouching and everything like this, and it's kind of really kind of disgusting. Then the sin eater's like eating this thing, and we get our first indication that something is a little off, because the sin eater's face of the local sin eater actually is wearing the sin eater mask. Yeah. And that's our first indication. Okay, wait, there's something a little off about this.
Yeah.
We then cut to several years later where Stanley talks about, I became an FBI agent. And then basically, and he talks about, he goes to the funeral of his partner, which I believe is Jean DeWolf. And there is the local.
It was a different photo. That was something else. That was something else I noticed. No, this whole issue, certain things that we remember get twisted and turned. And I think it's on purpose.
Oh, it absolutely is. Because the first time I read this, I was like, I'm thinking, wait a minute, did we actually miss the pages were out of order somehow? But nope.
I had to read it twice.
Wait a minute, are you talking about he didn't sleep with?
No, he does.
We'll explain this.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
It's weird.
We don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes. So the minister, he talks to the minister. The minister gives Stanley a speech about how saying that, well, I one time, stole some money and everything like this. Trying to encourage Stan, and then Stan goes to a bar and he's watching a news broadcast about the death of Jean DeWolf. But then the wolf is standing right by him.
Right there, yeah.
And then he goes to like, sleep, and they sleep together and all this stuff. He then meets another informant, but then that informant is dead. It's all kind of jumbled. He also sees another TV broadcast where the priest he just talked to is also dead, who by the way, turns out to be the priest that the Stanley, as the senator, killed back in the Who Killed Jean DeWolf story.
Yep.
So then as all this is so going on, suddenly it turns into a This Is Your Life TV studio with, you can even see Electro, the real Electro, not she Electro, bounding away on the drums. And then there's the black suited Spider-Man there. And the host is like saying, yeah, hey, Stan, this is kind of your life and everything like this. And then for whatever reason, this issue decides, hey, we're going to reprint that one issue from Peter Parker's The Spectacular Spider-Man where the Senator died, complete with, hey, read in next time for whatever the next issue is. Yeah.
From Peter David and Bob Buscema.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like literally those pages, like they Xerox copied those and put those in there. And then, but the main gist is that eventually Stan kind of figures out that, crap, he's in hell.
He's in hell. Yeah.
And there's an old Stephen King line that goes, hell is repetition, because he's been doing this the whole time. Right. Yeah. Well, this talk show host is actually Kindred. But he's saying, well, here's the thing, Stan, you're not actually in hell for the sins you committed. You're in hell because by killing those other people, you took on their sins. Right. But then again, he's probably full of it in this way. So he's talking. So he's showing, and so then they have this thing where he gets attacked by Jean DeWolf with a priest and some other guy, and he's like, mangled, and because of that becomes kind of like, sort of a rite of passage. Like he basically, potentially, Kindred tells the eaters, "Come on, embrace your true self and everything, become the Sin Eater again," and he puts on the original costume, gets his old shotgun, which I'm sure has now demonic shells in it or whatever. and that's how, and that of course leads up into where we are now. So,
so what's your grade, sir?
I'd probably give this. I mean, in terms of, I give this probably a B-. I did like this a bit better, even though this was this is essentially just kind of a recap issue in a lot of ways.
Sin Eater Volume 2 origin, essentially.
Yeah, but I did like kind of like this, the way it was set up and everything, even though it was confusing to read.
So we have a B-. Kelly, what's your grade?
I have an A-. I really love this kind of storytelling, and I like the fact that everything, once I realized, this is hell, and this is the whole point, that everything's getting twisted, and it's Kindred twisting things to get Sin Eater, on his side, essentially.
Right.
Yep.
I appreciated the fact that everything had a purpose. And that's rare in a lot of newer comics now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I just enjoy that. And I enjoyed the way the art looks with the sins when they're being twisted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. JR, what's your grade?
I gave it a D.
A D. Wow, okay, we'll go to you for cons exclusively.
Yeah.
Mark, what's your grade?
C+.
C+. And George, you didn't read it, right?
I don't do tie-ins.
Okay. I'm going to give it a B-. So Mike, your pros?
Okay, the pros is I do agree with what you just said, Kelly. I mean, this is actually well structured. I mean, as soon as you kind of get through, you did have to read it twice, and this is not something you can just plow through because but in terms of the structure, so in terms of the story structure, what Spencer was doing, I think was really spot on. I also did kind of like the idea that this would be in terms of people wanting to have a kind of a primer for who the Sin Eater is, if they didn't want to this is basic. It kind of gets a little bit into, and I did find some of the backstory that was involved, initially was kind of fascinating, and also a little bit, and also the kind of that he's kind of almost, it almost reminded me, there was this one movie, I can't remember offhand the title, but it was supposed to be, in which there's a guy, it's supposed to be set up like a film noir, but it was like a private detective, but but it turned out he's in hell. I can't remember though what the name of that film was.
Oh.
I think it was.
Do you remember who was in it?
I want to say Mickey Rourke, but and I can't remember who was.
De Niro? With Angel Heart?
There we
Angel
go.
Heart. Yeah, Angel Heart. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel Heart.
De Niro was the devil, wasn't he?
It just reminded me so much of that, and kind of had that same kind of feeling to it, everything like that.
Adam has a good point. Why do this in a side book and not Amazing, and for $1 more?
Because it's a prelude. It's a tie-in.
Yeah, it's a prelude, and
so
plus
they can get $1 extra. Extra $1 out of you is what it is. Another issue.
We'll get to a con about
part of why I don't read these things.
We'll also get to a con issue for why that probably cost the extra $1, which I'll probably probably know what it is. But
let me hear some other. Kelly listed a lot of pros. Any ones you didn't miss? You didn't hit up, Kelly?
No, I mean most of the pros are just kind of it is what it is. There's nothing. Once you realize that it's hey, this is hell. It's it's exactly what it is, which is a Sin Eater prelude.
Right. Mark, what was your grade again?
C+.
C+. What did you like about it?
I love the unreliable narrator type story.
Yeah.
So we're getting all this information, but we can't trust most of it. We know it's based on some facts, but we can't trust that the judge was really sleeping around. We can't trust that the priest was really confessing stealing some money and stuff like that. Because his whole viewpoint is warped and stuff. So I like those kind of stories.
Okay. JR, you got any positives?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Let's go to cons. Mike, start off, then we're going directly to JR.
Oh, come on. You guys already know what it is.
What is it?
It's the fact that they have to reprint 2 pages from that other issue, word for word, including that little caption thing. That's what probably costed the extra book. Well, no, I didn't either, but that's what costed the extra $1. It's just but the thing is, it kind of felt a little lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have reprint certain scenes from that if you wanted to get the point across, but you really had. But it literally, they just copied and pasted 2 pages of that story and just stuck them in there.
Yeah, well, it's a particular editing style that they've been doing for tie-ins and origin stories lately, where instead of having someone redraw a certain scene or relook at a certain scene, It's just directly copy and paste, and then like stick something saying, if you want to see the original, go to Marvel Unlimited. And it's all about marketing at the end of the day.
My other con is this, and I'm sure you might kind of agree with this. This did not feel like a Spider-Man story.
No,
it didn't.
No, not at all.
No.
It's a good kind of horror story kind of thing, but at the same time, it's like to think that this is somehow tied in with Spider-Man. It's like, maybe like Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, or something like that. But not this. Not something. Not like the happy-go-lucky.
There's a couple things with Spider-Man. Him in outer space, and him with supernatural, like in hell stories, aren't some of my favorites.
No.
I mean, Dad. I mean, Demo Goblin was not one of my favorite villains, and that's kind of was a little bit. That kind of was getting a little bit in this. I know, Mark. I know you like the bad villains and everything like this, but it's just.
Mike, are we ready to go to JR to demolish this issue?
Oh yeah.
All right,
let's hear it.
Let me hear it. Why'd you hate it?
Well, first of all, beyond the fact that it was another scam to scam people out of more money, there was no story. It was making a story out of nothing. There is no story to tell. Nobody gives a crap about Stan Carter. Stan Carter was a one-use, two-use villain whose story was told. And second of all, it's like, he had a very simple origin. He was a SHIELD agent. His brain was fried in an experiment, because he took a super serum that tried to make him a super person laced with LSD, and it fried his brain. There it is. But now it's like, we got to give him this, Mom and Dad were hippies and Dad OD'd and I had to go live in Brad Douglas's state, and Grandpa was a snake handler and I saw a sin eater and gee whiz. I mean, this is like, this is JM. This is almost worse than J.M. DeMatteis going off the range. Stan Carter, he was a simple villain with a singular purpose. He served that purpose, and his story was over. This is ridiculous. I don't care. I really don't care.
It sounds like you would have preferred an original creation.
Well, no, I want the story to be over.
Oh.
I wanted it to be over 20 issues ago.
Oh my God.
This is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
We can just stop speculating. Hornacek has figured it out. The Demogoblin is Kindred. There we go. And in case you're wondering, Jonathan says JR is killing it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Adam Winchell is a non-person now to me. So.
Oh my God. Any other hatred you need to spew, JR?
Well, you guys wanted to end this at 8:00, so I guess no. Or else we can go on for another hour.
Let's get Mark's cons and Kelly's cons.
The same thing that I liked before is also comes back as a con. I didn't want a retelling of the Sin Eater saga. I love that story. I didn't need it. I didn't need to pay money to read it again. I've got it free on Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
Kelly, cons? What?
They've been said.
Okay. We're still talking about killed Gene DeWolf 30 years later.
Oh,
I'm going to go back and redo a classic or add to the origin of a classic villain. Sin Eater is pretty much a blank slate. He doesn't have that much backstory, JR. So, I mean, I can think of worse things he could have done. But I also ponder if he should have created someone brand new. But he's already doing that with Kindred, allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
It makes me wonder sometimes, like when Peter David wrote that story, and I think Priest was the editor at the time.
Yep, he was.
It makes me wonder back then if they knew how popular that thing would wind up becoming.
Wasn't that?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, wasn't that also one of Peter David's first gigs?
It was. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, they pulled him aside because he killed Gene DeWolf in the first couple of pages of the whole series. Yeah, it's the arc, and they were like, "You can't do that." And he was like, "Wow, it's stories about her death." I'm like, "But you've got to spread it out some." But it was too late. They got a lot of flashback too from showing her dead there with her chest blown apart.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Shooter and Christopher Priest wanted. Is or maybe 3 different versions of Spider-Man because they wanted to justify why he was in 3 titles. They wanted Amazing for the main adventures. They wanted him traveling all around the world, taking pictures in web, and they wanted Spec to be Hill Street Blues. They wanted it to be dark and crime and noir and stuff. And I don't fault them for that. I wish we had 3 different takes on Spider-Man every month like that. So anyway. That is a wrap on that episode. Let's go final thoughts, and then we're going to immediately start because Facebook stops my live stream if I don't start right on time. So they give me a 10-minute window to start right in the window. So let's go around the horn for final thoughts. Mark, take me through. What's your final thought?
I'm like Stan Carter's background. It's a blank slate.
JR, final thoughts.
Wake me up when the story actually goes somewhere.
You'd be asleep even if you had an ending. We've got George. Final thoughts.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Mike, final thoughts.
Hopefully we can resolve this whole Kindred thing by this year, maybe. Hopefully, but
I'm not sure. See. I think we're going to have the first big battle at 8:50.
Yeah.
And it needs to end at 8:50.
I think we're hitting like chapter 2 at 8:50. If I'm guessing. I mean, I think we're going to have a reveal of who he is, and then he's going to taunt him.
Right.
My guess. Kelly, final thoughts.
I'm ready for an actual story.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like I'm kind of like that Jerry Maguire quote, "Show me the money, show me the story."
Show me the story. Show me the story. But still a better story than we had 10 years ago.
It is.
Yeah,
this is true.
No doubt.
Hey,
no doubt.
Fucking YouTubers, we are going to be live in just a few seconds on this next Spider News podcast. We're going to lose Mike. Mike has to go. He's dead.
Yeah, and I'm going to be replaced by Neil. But Neil's a much better replacement.
Please tell me Neil's not going to talk about Transformers for 45 minutes.
Yeah. On that note, we're about to roll out. All right. Autobots. Good night, everybody.
See ya.